Blake Mills. I'm the head men's basketball coach at NEO A&M. Going into my first year, I've been the assistant there for 3 years, but going into year one as a head coach.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to what you're going to do there at NEO, and obviously Coach Jackson, reputable coach who left the program in a good place, and you're looking at continue to replicate that. So, how would you describe the identity you want this roster to have this season?
Absolutely. I think the number one thing that I want to make sure that we have is toughness. I know that's something that every coach kind of says. But, our identity is truly going to be that we're going to out-tough people. There's going to be days in practice that aren't easy. There's going to be days in games that aren't easy. And just learning to get through those things as a group collectively is the number one thing that I want our guys to do.
Yes, sir. And you're also bringing in some talent, man. Got some talented guys coming in. So to be tough and talented, it's going to take you a long way, especially when adversity hits.
Yes,
what do you
sir.
see as the biggest strength of this year's team?
I think the biggest thing is that we're very versatile. At the same time, my guards are strong enough to switch and guard 1 through 5, but I think my forwards can do the same thing. Outside of our 7-footer, our 6'8", 6'9" guys are very, very versatile. They can rim run, they can get out and switch and really stay in front of a 1 or a 2. And I just look forward to seeing that and obviously getting the energy in the gym and looking to see how it goes and transforms into something beautiful this year.
Yes, sir. And tell us a little bit about the roster. Obviously, we're sitting here in front of college coaches here today. They're going to see some talent and toughness there between the lines. But which returners have made the biggest jump this last year, and what newcomers should four-year coaches keep an eye on?
Absolutely. So, we do have 2 returners from last year's team, Braden Lloyd, Kenny Costa. That's our only 2 returners, but they've been great as far as establishing a culture and, continuing what NEO's been. Our tradition's very rich, and so establishing that culture on, having those guys around has really helped me tremendously. We got a couple of really talented junior college transfers as well as a couple of really talented Division I transfers. And so basically just integrating them into one system and making sure that we're all playing together is that's what we're doing early on. We had a lot of success so far. I've really loved the way that our guys have bought in so far to this point.
Yeah. And if you know hoops, man, you know that what you mentioned earlier, toughness, is even past the court, right?
Yep.
It goes into the locker room. Who's setting the tone if any names come up there in the locker room?
I would just say my sophomores in general. I'm a big coach, so I think you need to empower your athletes to be player-driven rather than coach-driven. You always hear that at the end of the year, the teams that are player-driven win championships. And so I've done a really good job, I think, in my opinion, of getting great sophomores as far as being really talented, but also being great people and showing our freshmen the right way to do things.
Yes, sir. As we transition into the new year, obviously we're still in September. Guys are still coming in, showing you what they can and can't do. What's one story or moment from practice that captures this group's mentality?
Something that comes to mind for me is we were doing a war rebounding drill, which is, it's 4-on-4 and you got to chase the rebound. And our chairs are kind of off to the side and, ball bounces, goes over the side. I had 3 guys slide into the chairs going for a rebound. And that's the culture that we're building here at NEO, and that's the way we're going to play in practice and games and scrimmages. And honestly, just establishing that culture that when we step foot on the court, nobody's going to play harder than us.
Yeah, and culture's a big deal, man, and really it becomes the behind the scenes of recruiting, right? A four-year coach is getting to know a kid. They see what numbers he can put up, the hustle he has on the court, and sometimes they might miss that back scene, right? So
Yep.
If a four-year coach recruits from your program, what kind of player and person are they getting?
I think the number one thing that they're going to know is that they're getting a kid that's been coached. I'm huge on getting people out of their comfort zone. I think the most growth comes when you're out of that comfort zone. And sometimes for kids in this day and age, they don't get that because, coaches are nervous that kids are going to transfer. And there's been on multiple occurrences where I've told them, if you want to transfer somewhere, I'll sign a transfer waiver to anywhere in the country. It doesn't matter if it's interconference, out of conference. We want guys that want to be at NEO. And so just establishing that culture as far as if you get a kid from NEO A&M, you're going to know that somebody's going to be on his butt and show him the right way to do things.
Yes, sir. Bringing in some really unique guard names. Had a great summer in terms of recruiting. I mean, can you expand a little bit on a few of the backcourt mates that you're going to have with Cedric Dixon, Justin McCarter, and so forth and so on?
Absolutely. Both of those kids are very, very talented. I think Cedric's the best shooter in the country, but I think he can do a lot of things that people don't know about as far as off-ball screens and things like that. And Justin McCarter is one of the more storied junior college players after last year. Freshman of the year in the GCAA, coming off a year where he's 17 points, 8 rebounds a game. He's very, very impressive. And then Kelton Williams is a Division I transfer from ULM. He's been amazing for us. But, I want to speak a variety of our guys because they've all been great. And honestly, the battles on the court every day, it's a different guy each day that's showing they can do something. And as a coach, having that is something that you dream of, especially going into year one. Guys that love to compete, but obviously having the talent that it takes to go win.
Yeah, and that really speaks a lot of who you are and the character you're bringing to NEO and, trying to spread the wealth, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
What's something about your coaching style that players might find surprising?
I think kind of what I said earlier, as far as I'm not nervous to get somebody out of their comfort zone or make things uncomfortable. I kind of live in the uncomfortable area, and I think that's something that a lot of coaches strive to do. And I learned that early on in my career from Scott Egger is that, the greatest form of love is keeping kids accountable and, hold them to the highest standards. Because if I'm not pushing you and I'm not getting you out of that comfort zone, I'm not doing my job as a head coach.
Yes, sir. And as we transition into Revocruit, obviously a user of our service, Coach Jackson as well, and you guys had a great season this past year. A former player yourself in the Region 2, how do you think Revocruit helps JUCO athletes gain visibility here with four-year coaches?
The platform that you guys are given is absolutely amazing. It's something that not even in junior college, but specifically in this conference that we've never had before. Even the daily, graphics that you guys do, where you're posting the stats from the games, and I just think getting the eyes on these kids is very, very important because in this day and age, there's a lot of talented kids that wouldn't normally be in junior college, but due to the variety of rules changing as far as the transfer portal, the extra years of eligibility that people got from COVID and so on, there's a lot of kids at this level that deserve that type of exposure, and you guys are truly giving them that. And as a former player and now head coach, I can't thank you guys enough. It's the impact that you guys are making is truly amazing.
Thank you, Coach. And I'm hearing a lot of, we're transfer heavy this year. It's become a deal, especially at the junior college level. You think the transfer portal is specific to the four-year schools that are trying to get those that are coming with 2 years of experience at the college level and so forth and so on. But we're starting to see we're transfer heavy at the JUCO level, even more now with the portal. Is that something you've adapted, or are you trying to stay older yourself?
I think junior college in general, if you have a successful year, you should be replacing and getting transfers because the goal of this level is to get out. You want to win games and get to the national tournament, but at the end of the day, it's our job to make sure that they get to that Division I level or whatever level it may be for them to be successful. And so I think, as far as adapting with times changing, I think it's kind of always been that way in the last 8 years that I've been coaching. The name of the game is go find more talent and then replace it. And so I think for the four-year coaches, it's a little bit different. But as far as this level goes, we're pretty used to having to go and replenish talent every single year.
Yes, sir. And as we enter your first year there as the head coach, when people think of NEO basketball, Blake Mills, and the leaders he's going to provide underneath him, what should they think when they think of that phrase?
I think the first word should be discipline. My guys are going to know what's expected of them, and I'm going to hold them accountable to the point that sometimes it's not always going to be fun, but at the end of the day, they're going to be better humans and better people after they play for me at NEO A&M.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm looking forward to that exact statement there. Congrats, Coach, on the new place. Good luck to the 25-26 season and the rest of your career.
I appreciate it, Coach.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you so much.